Hi everyone, and welcome to this new episode of Further. Today we will go further together with Siyanna Lilova here present. Thank you very much for being with us today, Siyanna. I'm very looking forward to know more about what you're doing and how you're applying your knowledge into this industry. I would like to give a short intro to introduce you to our listeners. So. Sienna, you are the co-founder and CEO of Curated AI and Prevent Intellect, two ventures that redefines how AI supports legal and privacy professionals across Europe. You have a LLM from the University of Cambridge and you have experience at the European Commission. You are combining deep knowledge of data protection, intellectual property with intellectual property law with cutting-edge AI development. So totally in our topic. What I really like about what you're doing is that you transform complex expertise into simple tools for your industry. So today we will dive into what you're building and see how you contribute to make the life easier in the legal industry. So can you tell us a little bit because as I mentioned, you worked at the European Commission, and I was wondering how did it come to you that you jumped to AI entrepreneurship, that you launched your own product? Like, how did that come in your journey?
Perfect. Thank you first for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here and then to share my story and my knowledge. Well, in short, I also, if I have to be very frank, I never imagined that I would be doing something like that when I started studying law and during the first steps of my profession. The thing that actually pushed me to go into entrepreneurship was actually my husband, who's always been very, very much into startups, into that type of culture. He had his own company that went through like YC in San Francisco. So he was very much that type. And then what that actually allowed me is to see this whole different universe and this whole different approach to how you can build your own career, build your own kind of products and not be just in the service industry, but actually go ahead and create something. And for me, that was super helpful because first it opened up a path that I never knew could be there. And the second thing that was really useful is that through him, I got to meet a lot of founders, and then I understood, hey, they're not these like alien, completely different type of people that are doing something that I can't. It actually kind of humanized the entire experience for me. So I was like, okay, if these guys can do it, I can do it too, right? So it kind of helped me to open up that idea of what I can do and what I can be. And then of course the timing is very good right now with all of the AI development. So I had ideas immediately of what I can do and how I can help. So it's this kind of combination of factors that allowed me to be like, okay, this is actually the thing that I really want to do right now and I want to focus on.
And how did you decide what kind of ideas you wanted to launch? Did you spot like a need or something in the industry? Or did you like interviews or ask question feedbacks to the industry leaders to know
Yeah.
what you were going to launch?
Yeah, actually, the way that I started with initially with my own experience, right? Like me being a lawyer working on a very specific things. I started with the fact that I already had use cases in my head for which I really wanted to use AI. I knew that I really couldn't use the generic tools for it. So I knew that I needed something specialized that can help me trust actually the answers, reduce the problems with hallucination, get me like a much more structured and helpful results and to be integrated a bit more in my workflow. So I was like, okay, I feel the need myself. So I started with a hypothesis, basically a couple of hypotheses of what could be useful for people based on my personal experience. And then I went into the phase of interviewing tens, if not hundreds of people to kind of confirm or contrast and then to understand where actually the need is, to what extent the things that I'm experiencing are universal problems versus, let's say, problems within either my workflow or the organization that I'm in. So kind of to find what is the common denominator. So it kind of started with both, and then after the interviews, what we did is basically, I think, what any startup should be doing. We just shipped a very bad MVP, gave it to the people, and then just got feedback. And that has been the way that we do it at first, right? There are only so many interviews that you can do at the idea stage. I really think that it's better to be like, hey, there you go, something. What would you do with it? What do you want to do with it? If it's not doing what do you imagine, how can we improve it? And then just iterate. So that has been mainly our process and our focus right now as well.
And this is the curated AI product, right?
Yes, yes, this is how we started with curated. Then for our, let's say, Bulgarian version of the two, because the two of them are very similar, right? They're using AI to help with legal research, document analyses, and drafting. So the basis of what is needed in your everyday work, curated, the focus is data protection law, and then Pravan Intellect, the Bulgarian one, is a bit more universal on the entire legislation and case law. But the logic is very much the same. With the Bulgarian too, we already had the information from Curated, so it was much easier to release, let's say, directly go and release the first version and then get the feedback on it. But now they're slowly diverging into different directions because in the different fields and with the
Yeah.
different people that are using it, you actually see the feedback and then you start slowly adapting each in its different way. So they started very similar, but I can see how they're branching out exactly based on customer feedback and interaction. Yeah.
And yeah, yeah. And when you build an AI product like you do in your field, what are the major components you're looking at and you need to be careful with?
Components in terms of technical or like business?
Feature, like
Features?
how do you develop your solution? Is there
Yeah.
any ethics or any rules that you are paying attention to? Because with
Yeah.
AI, there is a lot of discussion about bias, about
Yeah, absolutely. So when it comes to tools that are for lawyers, actually the main thing there are two main things that we're tackling, right? And this is every conversation that I have with customers always goes into these two main topics. The first one is related to the quality of the
yeah,
answers and the output, and that's always related to hallucinations, to data accuracy, to all of these basically completion of the answer based on what data is included. So that's, let's say, the first bucket. And then the second bucket, of course, is data protection and
yeah,
security, right?
yeah,
So these
quality
are
and protection.
exactly, these are the two main things that we always talk about. With respect to data accuracy and hallucinations, what we're doing, I mean, we're doing a lot of stuff. We have amazing AI engineers that are working on that, but we're doing retrieval augmented generation. So this is like a RAG system where we collect the database of reputable resources. And then what we do is we actually limit the AI so it can answer only based on these resources. And we put a lot of effort and a lot of development work into ingesting the right data, making it easily readable and understandable for the AI, including extracting metadata, formatting everything so it's as accurate and works as best as it can, doing some search algorithms. So there is a lot of work that's actually in this very, very specific area of making sure that the data is right, the data is up to date. We have to update our databases every night, that it's easily manageable, searchable, ordered in the right way of also legal importance. That's also super, super crucial. And that whenever we give the answers, we actually find really the right parts of these documents, and then we give the correct answer based on them. So this is actually where most of our development work is going. And then on the security side, what we're doing is the entire system, we're hosting it on the most secure systems that we can. So we actually made the conscious choice not to retrain our models based
Okay,
on the way our users are interacting with it. So
okay,
we're not training any sort of models based on customer provided data. And that's a trade-off that, to be honest, you have to make. Because on the one hand, yes, you can become better if you do it. But
yeah,
on the other hand, actually no lawyer is gonna allow you to train your model based on the one hand their personal data, on the other hand also confidential information, also let's say their IP, their templates, their internal data. So it's a lot of a lot of tricky issues out there, especially with confidentiality. So what we're doing is we're structuring it in a way that's the most secure, that's not using personal data for anything, that's not sharing it in any way. And this is, let's say, the structure layer that we're building. And these two, the hallucinations and then the security aspect, have been at the core of what we do since day one. Because otherwise, you cannot be building a tool for legal use if you don't have accuracy of answers and then security of information.
Interesting. And on both sides, so even on quality, when you mentioned about the data that have to be up to date and that you have, you take the responsibility of making sure that the
Mhm.
data is qualitative and up to date. So it requires some resources on your side, like people to train, as you said, daily on a daily
Yeah.
basis. Like, how do you handle that workload within your?
Well, to be honest, it's like all of this is automated, right? Like
Yeah.
the daily data ingestion is automated. What we do actually in terms of how we make sure that it works the best is that for every different resource, because we take information from very different resources.
Yeah.
It can be from Eurolex, let's say for European legislation directives. It could be from different types of courts, websites, it can be from different types of agencies. So a lot of different resources. What we do is basically we have a scraper for each, let's say, website or resource or database that we're using. And that scraper is adapted to the specific types of documents that we get from there. And we have automated it to just work every night. So first we add the main data that we're missing. So the big effort is in the beginning when we add a new resource. And after a new resource is added, then we just run an automated scraper that goes in every night and then just ingests and adds whatever data that there is into the database and then just processes in the appropriate way. So in the morning, when you start using it, it already has the most up-to-date information. That's the process that we're doing.
Amazing. So your qualitative feature is to select the sources, right?
Yeah, it's to select the sources to make sure that the answers are really based only on the reputable official information. And then also another thing that's incredibly useful for people is to be able to actually search in them
Yeah.
properly to find the proper information. Because in a lot of cases, what is still very much a daily use case for lawyers is that you want to find information on a certain topic. Let's say it's case law, right? And then usually how you go ahead and search for it right now is that you go in and use a legal information system that uses like standard type of keyword search. And then you're like, okay, this is my topic. And then you get 100 pages with fifty decisions on each page. So it's okay, you have the information, you have the data, but how do you actually process it? How do you actually extract what's key from that data? Because from all of this information, maybe you care about 10 paragraphs within like 5 decisions that actually are relevant to what you're looking for, but you have to comb through it otherwise manually. And this is a lot of the effort that we're doing actually with our search algorithms in the back that do both the keyword traditional search, but also contextual search that helps like really locate this information. And this is where a lot of the value actually comes in because it's okay, we're getting answers and you're finding the right resources, but within these resources, the going deeper part to the specific article and paragraph that's really
Mm-hmm.
relevant for you, this is actually in most cases a more time consuming effort because you have to go in and manually read and process the information. So that's a lot of the where a lot of the info comes in. And then also things that are related to big data, right? Like analyzing big data. So being able to say, hey, these are trends from, let's say, the past year on decisions that are made on topic X, on topic Y, how big are the fines? So these are, let's say, additional things that right now we can do with AI, which is just analyzing and even predicting in the future trends that we have from that data.
Amazing. It looks very great. I have another question for you because what we see also in this industry now with AI being implemented a bit everywhere is the lack of understanding and training. How are you approaching your clients? Do you also provide not only the tool, but also some prompting techniques, some understanding on how does it work, like the workflows, like how do
Yeah.
you deliver that on top of the tool? aside or
Yeah,
on top.
it's a very good observation because that's absolutely true. I mean, for most of our customers, like we see it there, like, okay, we want to use this, we know it's useful, but we're not sure how.
Yeah.
And then the initial approach in a lot of cases is they want to use it like the old information systems, right? They put in the keywords, just like random keywords, and they're like, how, why is it not doing what I wanted to do? Like, just
Yeah.
tell it. So what we do usually is whenever we have, let's say, a bigger customer, right? So that's a law firm with 10 or 15 or more people. We just do trainings. We get in the entire team and like, okay, this is the tool. So in general, this is like a demo of how it works. And then also these are exactly main prompting techniques. We explain them a little bit how this whole RAG, augmentation system actually works. So we give them a little bit of basics on how actually the system operates and a lot of practical how-to steps. We have this whole presentation that's ready to go for everyone that needs it. So more hands-on with let's say the bigger clients. And then for the individual clients, we actually have turned this educating the customer flow with our initial onboarding emails. So
Okay.
actually, whenever somebody subscribes, they get like a welcome email from me, which is like, hey, welcome. What do you want to use this for? How is this helpful? With a couple of questions. And then the next two emails that they get from me, one of them is deep dive into basically how you can use the system for different use cases. And then the last one is actually a guide to prompt engineering that we send them. So this is the onboarding flow. So at least the basics you have come through and you have seen. And we also have a lot of materials on our website as well that we sometimes share either through newsletters or through things like that. So this it's a little bit of like a daily interaction with all of these. And we do a lot of workshops on
Yes.
on that too. So it's all a part of it, but that's absolutely necessary, I think. And people, what is good, I think, is that people understand that they need it and they
Yeah.
actively seek it out, which I think is really nice, which is much better than thinking, oh, I understand this, I don't need to know anything more, I can do whatever I want to. So yeah, there's definitely a hunger, I think, for this.
Amazing. It's great to see, as you said, that it's welcomed because it's
Mhm.
needed in order to optimize
Absolutely.
your
Yeah.
use of those tools. It's to understand and to see how you can secure your research. And yeah, so it's very important that you have this workflow. I'm very happy to hear that it's embedded into
Mhm.
your product, not only the tool itself, but also how to use it and educating about AI and prompting
Mhm.
techniques. So
Yeah.
that's very nice. And would you like to share some feedbacks from the clients? Like, how did it impact them in their daily work?
Yeah, I mean that's a really fresh one. Is from the other day that we really had this client code us up, and then he told us, "Hey, I had booked my entire afternoon to work on this problem, but then I decided to try you guys out, and then in 10 minutes I'm done." So that's amazing. I'm super happy, which is such a nice thing to hear. And we had a lot of calls like that as well. Another thing that we actually have had as feedback is another client during even the live demo. He asked me, "Hey, I have this problem that I've been struggling with, and I gave my intern to research, but I didn't really like the answer. Can you, let's see what happens." And then we do it during the demo, and then he sees the answer, and then he leans in and then starts reading. And then he's like, "Oh my God, this is actually amazing." This is a better job than my intern. Now I need to go back and give it to him. And I have these ideas of how to approach my case and blah, blah. So that's exactly how it's supposed to work, right? Like on the one hand, save you a lot of the manual work and the searching on the other hand, just give you ideas, right? Because it's a
Yeah.
sparring, it's an assistant, it's a sparring assist, basically system where you can just get ideas, get arguments, help yourself, so get you into the flow. So these are, let's say, the two main things that we hear. It's either I get more ideas, I find things more easily or more creatively, let's say, approach problems, or it just saves me a lot of time to do whatever I would have done before.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing that, Sienna. And what would be like the future? How do you look at your product, the feature, and the work of a lawyer, actually? How do you see
Yeah.
the future with AI?
Yeah, to be honest, I think what our vision is for our product, we want to do whatever we're doing right now with, let's say, with Bulgarian law. We actually want to expand that because I think what I think right now is one big issue is that we're trying to have a European market that's open, that's free flowing. But still, the different jurisdictions and legislation is actually quite a big of a stopper. And if you want to do business in multiple locations, in a lot of cases, you have to hire lawyers in multiple locations just even get the basics, just even find your company or set up your things. So I think what we want to do longer term is actually start adding jurisdiction after jurisdiction, and very, very long term, just be the one place where you can do your entire research, even cross jurisdictionally and cross languages. So that can actually make even longer term European trade a bit easier, right? Because we
Yeah.
have this one place where we can go in, also for lawyers as well, we can go in and find the basic information, not only within your jurisdiction, but also being able to support your clients with a one-stop shop also for other places. So I think that would be, this is kind of what I want us to
Yeah.
achieve. And again, my vision is not let's get rid of lawyers and give this directly to people so they can do it by themselves, because this is not really true, right? It's always much better, and AI systems work much better if experts are using them. They know what to ask, how to
Yeah.
prompt, how to get the best of it. So in my opinion, it should always be a tool that's used by experts or by people that understand their field to just fuel them and make them do things like much, much faster. And I think that would be the most important thing to think of. Hey, all of these things that right now are manual, we should just get rid of the idea that they are actually at the core of doing legal work. I think
Mm-hmm.
the core of doing legal work is actually really consulting advice. It's a lot of strategy. It's a lot of also business advice that goes into that. And that's why you go to lawyers. Usually these are the smart people that can give you different insights on how to structure things, how to approach different situations. And that's what's most valuable. It's not, I'm going to fill in this form. It's not, I'm going to spend whatever time just to find something that I need because I can. It's not these like menial stuff where I'm going to go in and just like manually check whether there are new decisions or new laws on some type of topic. I think we just should try to get into the way of thinking that these are not the essentials of the profession and really rethink what are the essentials of the profession so we can actually enter into the new age. And that will be also a very exciting thing for universities to do as well, because without rethinking, to be honest, legal education and the way that it's structured right now, I think it will take much, much longer actually to get into this moment of, okay, what is actually the future of the legal profession and what is the role of the lawyer if you go into law school and then your entire job is to just memorize
Yes.
legislation and cases. So there's a lot of, I think, rethinking even from an earlier stage that needs to happen.
It's funny because you read into my mind. That was my next question.
Yeah,
Like, what
yeah.
about education? How do you embed these technologies into education so they're ready when they enter the market about, and you don't need the company don't need to train them on that.
Absolutely. I think actually we have already a lot of students that are using us as well. They're just
Ah,
finding us and using us to, and they even text us. They're like, "Hey, I really want to do my I want to prep for my exams, and this is actually super helpful for me to
yeah,
learn and prep for my exams." So I actually do believe that students should have these resources and
yes,
use them to prepare, to understand, to ask questions that maybe they're even if you're an intern in a law firm, for example, sometimes you're actually afraid to ask questions that you think might be dumb or like might be too elementary to go to your partner with them. But if you have something that you can ask without any judgment and really try to deeply understand the topic, I think that can be super helpful. So in my opinion, these types of AI systems should become a part of education, so you
yeah,
know how to use them and how to help them, but just the focus of the outcome, right, of what the exams are and what we're testing for should not be replicate and tell me what the law says in XYZ situations. It should be exactly more into this like strategic, analytical, critical thinking type of scenario. Okay, what are actually different discussions? What are different projects, different approaches that you could take? So more into these like softer types of skills that you develop around critical thinking and structure rather than just memorization of information, which I think still a lot of universities are very heavily relying on, at least in the bachelor's.
hmm,
As but I think if you want to prep lawyers for future jobs, you should definitely give them the tools that are available.
You mentioned that we should develop more soft skills, which I totally understand. But you also mentioned earlier about the RFPs and admins or request for proposal or to fill in a document. Is it also
Yeah.
something that could be a use case for your tool? Is not only about the advising the clients and helping with the ideas and and having the use cases theory, but also about like I need to do this request for proposal, I need to do this request for information. How can the tool can help me? Is it also for those use case?
Yeah, I think also for procedural things as well. Yeah, for procedural, for document drafting, for all of these things, absolutely as well. I think the idea is that you, for all of these things, especially if you don't know how to approach something, it can give you a very, very good initial base and a very good orientation in something that you don't know. So we do the same thing with initial drafts. Let's say now we'll be working on several modules that help with further smarter, let's say, document editing, again, based on official information and resources. So absolutely, I think these are all use cases of what we can use this type of technology for. So I
And
think
your tool is multimodal, right? You can, okay.
exactly. We use different types of models actually for very different things. We use probably like 10 different ones depending on what it's for. One is for searching, another for filtering, a third one for generation, a fourth one from refinement, things like that. So it's a very complex structure that's living there, yeah.
It's very interesting. We are arriving until the end of this interview. I would like to thank you, Sienna, for sharing with us your journey into building this product and tools for the legal industry and contributing to helping lawyers to get better at what they do and focus on the client. In the end, this is
Yeah,
the end goal. Um,
exactly.
and
Yeah.
I would like to ask you one last thing, maybe. Was there maybe one tip that you would like to share with other founders in AI?
One tip, I think the universal tip is talk to your customers.
Yes. Yeah, it's the same in AI, let's say.
Yeah, the same
It's,
in this. Actually,
yeah,
I think in AI you need it even more
yeah.
because I think you have a lot of these cases where people are like, "Hey, we can use AI to do whatever," right? Like this whole big thing, and then I see also people that I know that are jumping into revolutionizing X with AI. But then you're actually not from the industry. You're not really sure what people are actually doing in the back, and I feel that's for us, for our team, for example, it's really important that we keep like a 50-50 kind of split between technical people and legal people. And I see a lot of teams where it's actually the technical people that have zero industry knowledge or very limited industry knowledge that are trying to redefine whatever industry with AI. And I think that's what's lacking in a lot of cases, actually understanding what your customers and what your clients need. And I think if you approach with really the customer in mind first and what their workflow is, rather than what you imagine that you can do with AI to kind of make things better, I think that would be the best approach. So I think that's a hardcore, always true advice, but even more so, I feel in the AI field, we should follow it.
Perfect. That's good. That's, I think, like providing what fits in the market and what is needed with AI is one of the conclusion. Well, thank you very much, Sienna. It was very nice sharing this podcast with you today. I wish you all the best with your ventures, and we look forward to following you. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.